Hello, hello, awesome humans. All right, today I want to talk to you about your purpose, finding your purpose. Okay, woof. It's like a weighty topic, but actually, I want to share a perspective on your purpose that I hope will help you connect with yours with a lot more ease and a lot less struggle. Because so many people that I work with and interact with tell me that they are struggling to find their purpose in life, right? And there's lots of books about finding your purpose in life. And I remember those days in college, like sitting on the floor with my friend Laura, and we were thinking about like, what is our life purpose? Hopefully you've read the book, The Alchemist, one of my favorite books by Paulo Coelho, right? Which is about this boy setting out on this quest. I don't want to give it all away if you haven't read it, to find his purpose. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And it's this challenging thing for many people. So I want to offer you a different way to think about it. And I want to first tell you a quick story about something my friend said to me earlier today that inspired me to record this episode. I do plan things out in advance, especially since I have guests from time to time and I plan out topics, but I have to be honest with you. Most of the time for these solo episodes, I end up scrapping the plan and recording something entirely different because I'm inspired by something. And I highly recommend this strategy wherever in your life you have the flexibility to do it, because I don't think there's anything more important than following that inner like pull that you feel. So my pull today is to talk about this because this morning I had coffee with my friend and she was telling me, she said, look, I have to tell you something. I have to thank you for something. She said, a couple of weeks ago, you shared a story on Instagram and you talked about how you just got back from Madrid from visiting your daughter, Mia, who's studying abroad there. And you had this nightmare flight back, and we did, like, all the flights got canceled. It ended up basically taking us a whole day to get home. And she said, you did the story from the gym, and you said in your story that you really were tired, you were cranky, you did not want to go and do your regular workout, but you did anyway. And you said that you were really happy that you did it. And she said, you know what, I just want to thank you because watching that video really inspired me to recommit to my fitness routine, to working out, because I've kind of not done it for a while. So she said, so thank you. And in that moment, like that, I realized like, okay, this is my life's purpose, right? And this is what I want to share with you. Your life's purpose, it's not something that's somewhere out there, that this defined thing that you have to go out and find. It's actually right here, right now within you, because our life's purpose is to uncover, and it does take uncovering our true authentic self, and then to express that, to share that in whatever way feels good. For me, one of those ways is like recording these podcasts or sharing my thoughts on Instagram or the emails I write or my keynotes. I express things, I share things that are meaningful to me, that are resonating with me, that I have insight about. It's just me sharing my truth, my authentic self. And the reason that that is my life's purpose is because that is how I am able to create a positive impact, right? My friend is reinvigorated to pick up her fitness routine because of something that I shared, and I just shared something that was true to me. And so I invite you to think about your life purpose in a very different way, not as something that is somewhere out there that you have to go out and find, not as something that is kind of, predetermined and you got to find the right thing, not as something like grandiose. I feel like sometimes when we talk about a life purpose, it's like cure cancer, save humanity, eliminate hunger, world hunger. Those are like really huge things. And I think often people feel, or people have told me, they feel kind of defeated. They're like, I don't think my life makes that much of a difference. And this is because we kind of look at purpose as some like big momentous thing out there. And in fact, like if I can say it the most succinct way, your purpose is to live as authentically and fully as you can, because that is why we're all here. We all have unique gifts and unique aspects of ourselves. And the work of our lifetime is to uncover those, right? And it is work. And this is the work that I do with people. This is the inner work I continue to do with myself. It does take uncovering because our authentic self gets covered up by a lot of things, by things we think we should do, by a lot of limiting beliefs that we pick up in our childhood throughout our life about ways that we are supposed to be, about things we are not good at or things we're not supposed to do. And so it is your life's work to peel away those beliefs, to break through them, to uncover what is true to you, your unique dimensions, your unique ideas. And then the second part of the work is to share that. And we all share ourselves in different ways. And the most important thing you can do is to find ways that feel good to you. Like it feels good to me to share my ideas in these podcasts or stages or in my mentorship work, right? That may not feel good to you. You may have another way. It could be the way that you show up to your family. It could be the way that you interact with people. You know, there's a woman in my reinventability accelerator when we do a whole section of the work around kind of uncovering what I call our zone of greatness, which is this intersection between what you love, what you are great at, and where you have the deepest impact. And I asked everyone in the group to think about like, what do people thank them for, right? Because often it's very challenging, can be very challenging for us to see our own like unique aspects and wonderfulness. And so it's helpful to have that lens. And one of the things this woman said, she said, you know, people always tell me that when they have a conversation with me, they just feel like I'm fully there. They feel like my full attention and fully seen. And that is so beautiful. That is part of her life purpose because that is something that is very authentic about her. And when she's expressing that in her interactions with people, she is fulfilling her purpose of being fully herself and having that unique positive impact that she can have. And so I want you to, instead of thinking about your life purpose as this thing out there that you have to find, instead to recognize that it is very much a journey of self-discovery, of self-honesty. And I think more than anything, it is doing this work to peel away the beliefs, the inner narratives that block you from really owning and connecting to what is really true for you, and then expressing that in whatever way feels good. And one other thing that, you know, I want to mention, we don't just have one life purpose. That was something that I kind of had this insight for myself a few years ago, when I'd spent about a decade after my tech career. I spent about a decade focusing on happiness, right? I ran a company called Happier, founded a company called Happier. We had this amazing gratitude sharing app that helped hundreds of thousands of people. I wrote a book on happiness. I gave keynotes about happiness. We developed a whole Happier at Work program, and that was incredibly meaningful to me. And that was my purpose because it's something I struggled with happiness for a lot of my life, and I figured out how to practice it in my life. And I was excited to teach it, to share it to others. And then a couple of years ago, I started to feel a shift, right? That I was called to uncover other parts of myself. I started to do one-on-one mentorship and working with smaller groups. And I got really excited to not just speak on big stages, but help people have like in-depth transformation, which you can only do one-on-one or in a small group. I also, as I shared recently, am spending more time and investing more time and more of myself and my art. I signed a lease for a studio space. I'm spending more time because that aspect is calling to me. So there are many different aspects of my life purpose. You don't have just one purpose. And again, because you have many unique dimensions, there's many layers of you. And so this pressure to find the life purpose, just get rid of it. There's no such thing. And instead, invest your energy and your attention and your inner work to just getting to a place where you can be honest with yourself about this is what is lighting me up. This is what feels aligned and authentic for me. This is what is pulling at me, right? Like that inner pull that we feel, and follow that, and then find ways to express that in whatever way is comfortable or interesting or exciting for you. and recognize that is you aligning with your life purpose, because your life purpose is within, not outside. One of the books I want to recommend to kind of dig deeper on this kind of line of thought, and I think I've talked about it before because I did an episode about kind of our acorn growing into an oak tree, which is this idea that we all have an essence, a soul, and that it does have a purpose to live fully, to fully blossom into this oak tree. And so the book is called The Soul's Code. It's a really, really, really deep. It was a huge bestseller. And so if you're interested in kind of more aspects of this or to go deeper, I highly recommend it. It's had a huge impact on me. So that is what I wanted to share. And I want to thank my friend Mimi for saying that to me this morning, because it really, well, one, it felt really good to know that just by living fully and sharing myself and my insights, I am helping someone. But it really reminded me and inspired me to share this with you, that our life purpose is within us. And that when we stop looking for it somewhere out there or thinking that it's just like supposed to be this giant momentous, save humanity thing, it actually allows us to connect to it, to feel more energized and excited, to uncover those unique aspects of ourselves and share them. And that's what I hope you do. So thank you. That's all I have to share today. I always want to hear from you. Shoot me an email, Nataly, Nataly @happier.com. I always want to hear what's resonating, what other topics you want me to cover, how this is landing for you, how you're thinking about your purpose differently. And have a beautiful rest of your day. As I always say, I will be in your ear if you're listening, or with you on screen if you're watching on YouTube next week. Have an awesome rest of your day.